What's up, YouTube? Awesome Yoga here, and today I'm here with a discussion on the ban list we got. I know I'm uh, a bit late to it. Could have been later, since right now I actually should be studying, but I wanted to get this out since it's been about a week since I last posted a video. Um, and yeah, I have been failing to upload as consistently as I once did, or as I want to. But this was a good moment for me to, or at least I made it a good moment for me to discuss the ban list, since we did get quite a bit of changes. Not something I predicted per se. So as you can see on the screen, I just have the changes put out, and I'll just go from top to the bottom discussing everything. So for newly banned, first guys we got on here is Clifford Towers, which is fine. I'll just discuss each hit separately, and then I'll discuss a bit of the future of Yu-Gi-Oh, where I think this is going to go, um, and why they did some of these things. But Towers, I mean, that's just whatever. Clifford Towers was a dumb deck. In all honesty, you could just lose from it just because you didn't have an out against this card, and that's not healthy for the game. So Towers banned is perfectly fine. I'll just go into the other hit they did to Clifford, putting Scout to 1 as well. I'll go into that real quick. That wasn't a necessary hit. Now Cliffords aren't dead. You just have to run like more climate change. But putting Scout to 1, in my opinion, wasn't really something they had to do as well. If you ban towers, you have to go to the more trap-heavy Clifford or some other YOLO version or something. But that would be power creep anyway. Right now, they're not even in the top 3 decks as they were. So putting Scout to 1 as well, my opinion, wasn't needed. But it's not too big of a deal either. So whatever on that. But to go on the continue on the ban. So next on the ban list, going to 0 from 1, we have Shirt. Um, and I'll go into all the Necros hits right now. We have Shurit to 0, Brianak to 1, and Unicorn to 1. As well as reinforcements to 1, but reinforcements isn't as relevant for Necros when you don't have Shurit anyway. So for now, let's just take out Shurit, Brianak, and Unicorn. So what this did is effectively kill Necros as a deck on its own. So don't get me wrong here, Necros can still be a deck. You're just going to have to use it as a hybrid. So for example, you can mix it with Shadal's, which got hit, which got killed as well, pretty much as a deck on its own. But the two of them combined can make one deck. You can use the Clowns still to make just a Necros deck, pretty much Necros Clowns, or Gem Knights, for example. With Gem Knights, Necros can still be a deck. Unicorn being put to 1 just gives you some less consistent opening plays and a bit less of recruitability and recovery, which is good. Unicorn to 1 is definitely something I felt should be done. Uh, Granted, you had Shurit at 1 and Briannac still at 2, just as one hit Unicorn to 1. Once again, since I felt like this deck would be power creeped out anyway with Magic Spectres, Cosmo, and with the newer decks we're going to get, Monarchs, and more Pendulum bullshit, pretty much. So in my opinion, they kind of overdid it. I never feel like hits like this are necessary. Going back to some previous lists when you just killed all the Dragon Rulers, you had all the support cards being put to 1 or 0. You killed all the babies and you put the big guys at 1. At some point we had that. Um, that's an overkill. Insectors being putting Dragonfly to 1 and Hornet at 1 at some point. Overkill. The windups putting Magician and Shark at 1. Overkill. Um, Now, when that would still be the only decks, that would be good hits. But after, for example, you had the hits on Insector, we were getting Mermill and Firefist and Evil Swarm and Constellars and Spellbooks. All of these decks were better than Insector as it is, or as they were, when you would just put like Dragonfly to 1, those decks would still be better decks. So why hit the Hornet as well? Or with Wind Up, same story. Or for example, with the Fire Fist deck, Wolfbark was puts a 1 at some point. Even though you had decks that were better anyway. Now you can say, well, if you made those decks weaker, you had the other tier 3 and 2 decks which come at the same level, but then you have just a great mash of tier 2 or 3 decks, and you have this one or two newer decks that become tier 1 and are the only tier 1 decks. Now of course, from Konami's perspective, this is what you want, because you want everyone to buy that new stuff you're bringing out. So I see why they do it from Konami, just have that extra guarantee that the newer decks are definitely better than what you have right now, without a doubt. And they effectively did that with a list like this, putting Brio at 1, just hurting the consistency a bit more, even though you still have your 6 Jews, putting Brio as well as Unicore as well as banning Shurit, you know. So Necros definitely got hit hard. But as a hybrid, it can still be a tier 2 to 2.5 deck. Um, so it's just they just rotated everything out pretty much. That's what this list effectively did. As well with the Shaddoll, we have El Construct banned, El Shaddoll Construct, as well as El Shaddoll Fusion and Mathematician at 1. Um, Now the only deck I really like to play at the at this point, or at least the last couple of months, was Shaddoll, since it was a bit more skill incentive than Necros and or Burning Abyss. Construct banned wasn't necessary when you go with El Shaddai at 1 as well. You could have done El Shaddai at 1 and then Construct at 1, but now you effectively kill one attribute that Shaddai could use, as well as really destroy the only actual power play Shaddai has or had at this point. Um, since what else is Shaddoll going to do? You can draw your card off Beast. You can recover pretty good with Falco, and you can make Winda. But who really cares? What decks really mind you just putting down Windas turn after turn after turn? No one really cares. 2200. I'll just kick over it. You can get your El Shaddai or your Shaddai Fusion back. It doesn't really matter because all you can make is another Winda or Shekanaga, which has become more difficult as well since Mathematician is at 1. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? So um, Construct is banned, effectively killing Shaddoll as a deck on its own as well. You could now, once again, use this as a hybrid, or with the Necros, or with Gem Knights as well, for example. Gem Knight can actually be a good part of a couple of decks that got hit right now. Um, or for example, with something like Fire King. Fire King is probably going to be getting the field spell in January. And Grista is a good card against Pendulum decks. So when you're mixing the Shaddolls with some fire attribute cards, you can effectively abuse or use at least Grista. So Shaddol uh, can still be played in stuff, once again, just not as a deck on its own. You have to utilize some other cards with this. Then Evil Swarm Exit Tonight got banned. I get everything on this list. Like I said, Konami wants to rotate out everything we've had up until this point and just force you to buy the new product and force you to play the pendulums. I don't get why they banned Exiton. Um, People weren't really playing it as it is. I mean, everyone with like when you're utilizing a rank 4 engine, they were just playing this, but I can remember last seeing this being an absolute blowout. This actually kind of prevented people from overextending. When you have Heavy Storm, people can't just recklessly set 5 cards. With Exit Tonight, you kind of punish overextending the field, as well as just gaining too much advantage over an opponent and committing it to the field. Another point why I don't really see why Exiton got hit is it kind of doesn't even hurt pendulums, since all the monsters you would blow up from the field would go to the extra deck. Yes, you would get rid of the 2 scales, and maybe that would be a bit more difficult to recover for some of the upcoming decks. Um, but I no, I seriously didn't think Exiton was broken or anything. So yeah, that would mean it shouldn't be banned since it's not an OP or broken card. It's just a good card to have in the back of your mind to have to play around or be able to use when your opponent is making some um, not optimal plays or suboptimal plays. But it got banned, and Konami probably has some reason for it. Um, maybe it's going to be getting, maybe we're going to get some card or something that would break Exiton. Exiton would become too good, or they just want to protect the pendulum mechanic even more. That could be why they did it. You know, they just want to be able to, or they just want to know that when people play pendulum legs, your pendulum skills will be safe at all times. You have that MST-like cards that they will probably be giving to some archetypes, but then those are the only options for people to actually get rid of the skills. So it might just be something like this, or like that. And I mean, it's whatever. It's not a deal breaker. It's not killing any decks, so I'm fine with that. Or at least I'm cool with that, being that Accident is banned right now since it didn't hurt anything specific but the card, and it gave some rank 4 decks a bit less options, but whatever. We have like 40 good rank 4 cards, so that's fine. Limited Scout, we discussed that. For Burning Abyss, we have the Graph and Graph to 1 and then Search 2, as well as Mathematician, sorta. Good hits to Burning Abyss. Yeah, I mean, I respect that I didn't hit Dante, that I didn't hit Dante since hitting Dante could uh, really hurt the deck, and Burning Mist is still a playable deck with one Graph and two Sir, so that's actually fine. I'm not too upset about those hits. I would have liked it to be the other way around, that not Graph at two or Sir at one. I mean, Sir is better in my opinion, so that should probably uh, be done or has they should have done that. But I'm more leaning towards, I would have rather had that they didn't kill Shaddoll and left Burning Abyss. I would have rather have that we could still play Shaddoll and that Burning Abyss would just be a deck that didn't exist anymore. But that's whatever. Maybe you can use some Shaddolls in Burning Abyss and just spam Windows with Dante's or something, whatever. Um, so Burning Abyss is still a decent deck. That's once again, it's going to get power creeped out anyway, so whatever. Let's see what next. Now, Mathematician. Actually, I had a discussion on YouTube with someone who said Mathematician would be put to one. I disagreed. I didn't feel like it was necessary since with the power creep we're getting, Mathematician is the perfectly fine card. It's not broken. It's not OP in any way. It's a fair card in my opinion, actually, since it can only send level 4 or lower monsters. It's just 1500, takes up a normal summon, all fine and dandy in my opinion. They still limited it. I don't know why. I mean, with how you're hitting decks like Shaddoll and Necros and Burning Abyss, Mathematician being put to one, it's just like it's like the Dragon Ruler story when you did put all your Dragon Rulers to one and you still banned Dragon Ravine. I mean, why? The deck is pretty hurt as it is. But yeah, I guess that's the Mathematician hit as well. It's kind of disappointing for some other cool decks like Insectors, like Zombies, which really appreciated a card like Mathematician. But yeah, it is what it is. Ritual Beast, Ulticana Hawk. They might have just done this because of overtime. Ritual Beast takes way too long. I mean, it's not that good of a, or it's a good deck, but it wasn't like one of the best decks. It will never be one of the best decks. But the deck, the Ulticonnock loop, it just takes way too long. And in all honesty, you really only need one, so that's fine. Again, Elshadol Fusion to one, already discussed that. That was a hit that I would recommend myself for Shaddolls, to be honest, so that's fine. I just didn't think they would also ban the construct, but whatever. Rhoda to one, only hit to Tellers, which I kind of predicted that they wouldn't actually touch Tellers, even though it won Worlds, which in last couple of years, they always killed the deck that won Worlds. They didn't this time, which is good since Teller is perfectly fine. It's perfectly fair, to be honest. Road one did need to happen because there's just too many decks that abuse Rhoda, and triple Rhoda just, I do like consistency um, to a point where you can always get the plays off that you need to do. But like heroes which use it, they can just use um, emergency call, tell us they, with Unicall High sending it to the grave call, Oasis and Dnaps, you have a nutshell's abilities. That's fine. And then for, like the lower tier decks like Noble Knights, they have the Merlin card, which pretty much all the decks have searching within their archetypes. So you don't really need a card like Rhoda. So I'm fine with Rhoda at 1. Surge 2 is the only card that got semi-limited. Already discussed that. I feel like, or I kind of think like Surge should be at 1 and then Graph at 2, but that's, potato, potato, whatever. No longer restricted Chaos Sorcerer. Perfectly fine. Legendary 6 Samurai Shian didn't do anything at 2, won't do anything at 3. Spellbook Fate, which is good. It actually was at 1, which is that's stupid. Spellbook hasn't done anything for 2 years. And then Gergiager to 3. Bit has done on this one since Gergiager with the Machine Dupe, with the Augur, is good since you can still put out 3 Girgant Axis, which isn't bad, but once again, totally power creeped out. As well as the when you go first, you only can draw 5 cards. Does hurt the Girgia deck, so because you just have a slimmer chance of opening armor with Girgia Gear, since you're only getting 5, not 6 cards. So just cleaning off the list, I might have taken some different picks for example, Girgia Gear. I mean, Fate Shen and Chaos Sorcerer should have come off the list a couple of lists ago. But for gear, I might have picked something else myself, since gear is relatively recent. There are some cards that have been on there longer, which are as bad or even worse than Gear Gear. But that's just fine. Getting Gear Gear off there is perfectly fine in my opinion. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on this list, or the changes at least. So what Konami actually did with this list is just kill everything we had, or at least weaken it substantially, making it so that there is absolutely nothing to stand in the way of the newer decks. Cosmo, the Magic Spectres, Monarchs, and Performer Pulse. That kind of decks we'll be getting coming week, as well as in January. And whatever other archetype we'll be getting. There's nothing to stand in the way of them, those decks running Supreme, which is fine. I mean, that's just a business decision by Konami. They want to sell product. Uh, the prices on the secondary market right now are stupid because of this, but that's fine for me. I only make money out of that, so that's actually good. Uh, but yeah, that's pretty much what they wanted to do with this list, and I think they effectively accomplished that. I do think we won't be seeing any Necros or Shadow or Burning Abyss, or Clifford, for example, topping, or at least definitely not winning any YCSs. You'll see them here and there in some regionals or whatever, but they won't be anything to actually take in account. So that's fine. Just it's a fresh start, which is kind of cool. Only just on a bigger picture, I just don't like it when Konami kills decks. That's the only thing that I have against ban lists like this, is that I kind of feel like at all times you should be able to play anything at some sort of a competitive level. I mean, you don't have to be the best deck all the time, but you should have a fighting chance. And with, for example, banning the construct, Shadol is going to be it's going to be having a really difficult time of fighting off some of the newer decks that are coming up. But that's just my opinion on that. We've been hitting almost 20 minutes on this video, so I'm definitely going to cut it off here. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the list in the comment section down below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed my 2 cents on this ban list, and I'll see you guys next time. I do want to do some deck profiles of the decks that got hit. So Burning Abyss, Necros, and Shadow. I do still have those decks. But also just leave me some suggestions in the comment section down below of decks you want to see. I can't and I won't be doing decks like newer decks, because I am not investing in product right now, since I'm not playing, so there's no reason for me to actually buy cards when I don't use them, pretty much. But I can do some of the older decks still and update those, see how we can make those decks have a fighting chance against those newer decks. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.
Bye.